Hey, 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 happy Sunday, everyone, and happy Valentine's. I hope you all had an amazing week. I've been looking forward to today literally all week long, and I'm excited to be talking, well, for many reasons. I've got the dogs with me, I've got a bunch to do today, and so I want to kind of focus in on just being on the go. And maybe you're familiar with Arbonne's Radium 5. Seriously, it has been it's come to my rescue many times, whether it's hopping on Zoom for like the next meeting and I've got to be on camera, or going out and I just need something fast. It has been come to my rescue more times than I want to say. But anywho, for those that maybe don't know what that looks like, it's going to look a little something like this. Arbonne has options that you can customize your own tones and shades, like different options like that. But I want to kind of center this look around being on the go, and I wanted to be relatable, and so I'm letting you into doing my makeup real quick for the sake of time though, because I want to talk you through a couple of tips, and I want to share a really funny story about how I literally almost lost my security deposit. This was pre-Arbonne days, but it had something to do with makeup. So I want you to stick around for that. I'm going to give some tips and tricks, and yeah, I'm excited. So I want to be respectful of your time. So I want to jump right into things. But before I do that, I do want to say thanks so much to the VP team for having me. I love you guys so much and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm grateful for your presence in my life. So thanks for thinking of me. And I see people are hopping on now, so I'm going to get going. So for those that don't know who I am, my name is Sophia Flores-Boyton, and I absolutely love makeup. So I'm excited that I have this opportunity to spend some time with you. So before I get showing you a few tips, I want to talk about this analogy because I do this often if I'm doing makeup for an event, for my clients, etc. Oftentimes when I get talking with folks who are like, I'm not 100% confident, or I don't know where to start, etc., I want you to think about an artist, right? And they're working on a new painting. They have a canvas. They're preparing it. They have to lay the foundation, whether it's the primer on the canvas before they put the paint and work on creating their masterpiece. It's very much the same with what we get to do with our faces. And so I just would encourage you to have fun with it, be playful, be bold. There's absolutely nothing wrong that you can do. You know, makeup was designed to enhance who you already are and your natural features. So give yourself some grace, have fun. If you have your makeup bag handy, get it out. I'd love for you to follow along. If not, don't worry. This video will be up. That way you can have something to refer to later. So with that being said, for the sake of time, I've already washed and prepped my face. I know it may not look like it in this moment, but before I put a little something on, I used our Age Well line, which is amazing. If you have any questions regarding skincare, I would highly encourage you to get with your independent consultant to talk about a way that Arbonne could help meet you if you have any skincare or anything that you wrestle with. Like for personally, I used to wrestle with a lot of acne, so Arbonne has a lot of great resources available through skincare line. So with that being said, I use our Age Well line, which I absolutely love, just to hydrate my skin, get it ready, make sure everything was clean, and then I went in with our makeup primer. Oh my goodness, somebody in the chat, be the people's witness, this literally feels like silk or velvet on your skin. It is amazing. I love how it feels. So I did a thin layer of this. You really don't need a whole lot, maybe a pump and a half, and swirl in your hands, and outward motions work from the inner part of your face moving out. If you don't have any eye makeup primer, feel free to use that primer on your lids if you would like. This is just, I'm using pink just because of the holiday and whatnot, but this is just very easy, straightforward. So you don't need a whole lot, don't worry. And then I went ahead with our setting spray, and in downward motion, so it evenly distributes, I did this all over my face just to get everything hydrated. And then this is one of my my go-to tips. Do you use a beauty blender? Let me know in the chat if you do. This is gold if you don't. You can buy these anywhere like Walmart, Amazon, etc. Run it under running water and do squishing motions until you have flexibility in the sponge, and the moisture will be there. You will be able to tell. And do pouncing motions, right, with your CC cream, because that's what's available in the Radiant 5. If you want something that is more coverage, Arbonne has a lot of options, which I actually have a couple in front of me. The foundation, this is one that I use, which, oh, I didn't mention this yet. One thing that I really love with Arbonne's pumps, they do this, so you're not wasting any extra product, which I absolutely love that feature. So this is a great option. This is not, I don't know if it's gonna focus or not, but this is the soft focus veil. It's like a tinted moisturizer, but there's really no color to it. But this is like a soft focus finish. It's amazing, lifesaver. But what I wanted to mention, if you're looking for fuller coverage and you're going out, maybe say for dinner, for Valentine's, you can do, or anytime, you know, but you can take the Got You Covered mineral powder, right? Do a little bit on your hand. Imagine this is, what the heck is that called? When you see the painters, they have that, I should know the name of that. Goodness. Anyway, like that plate that they mix their paints with. Go ahead and sprinkle a bit of your Got You Covered mineral powder, a pump of your concealer, maybe the CC cream or foundation, sorry, I meant to say foundation or concealer, and get that desired color that you're looking for, whether you're contouring, etc. Mix it on your hand and blend it on your face, and then with your wet beauty blender, do these pouncing motions, and it will take off any extra product. It also will add extra moisture to your skin, leaving a flawless glow. So that's a good trick between the mixing and the wet beauty blender. And then let's talk about eye makeup for a second. That is not necessarily included in the Radiant 5, but for the sake of the holiday and for some fun, I'm using the Cherry Blossom set, which is gorgeous. Have you seen this? Like, I don't know if, okay, it picks up better back here. Gorgeous. I absolutely love this palette. And then this new one. Ugh. Do you have this yet? The Marble palette? Let me know in the chat. And if you do, let me know if you love it as much as I do. But so this is the gloss that is in it. It's a dual one. This usually is always in my purse, but I took it out for the sake of the video. It has your bronzer, a blush, and 4 shadows. For my brunettes out there, you can use the browns in this as well to shade in your brows if you want to get more intricate. But so with the eyeshadow, for what I'm doing, I'm taking my, where's my, right here. With my brush, I'm going in with Blossom on my lid. And I shouldn't look at that camera. Let me look at the mirror. Go in, right? And I did 1 layer across my lid. And then, which also, the reason why I'm doing my eyeshadow before I do any concealer is for the purpose of cleaning any excess eyeshadow that falls on your cheek. So going in with Blossom, and then over here in the Marble palette, I took this first shade, right, with a fluffy brush like that. Sorry, the focus isn't picking up too much. And then I go in and I just buff along Blossom in that middle part of the lid. It just makes it a little bit softer. So one thing that I want to point out before I tell you this funny story about eyeshadow, one thing you can do is you can take your concealer, right, and you can go in with a small amount, a little goes a long way, beneath your brow, and you can kind of clean up any eyeshadow that has gotten on your lid, which it just makes for a more cleaner, natural look. So nothing too fancy. And then with my smaller brush, I went in with Hannah, which is right here, in the inner tear duct, right there, and then beneath the brow bone. And I did that, and also with Sakura. I really am not 100% sold on the fact that I pronounced that correct, but that's what we're working with. That's how I pronounce it at the moment. Oh goodness. Okay, so I just went in like that and go back in with this fluffier brush. Oh gosh, the dog is panting. And just buff in between just to make it softer. And I just want to say that if your eyeshadow is uneven, give yourself some grace. Just have fun with it, buff it out and play around. It takes practice. Everybody starts somewhere, so don't worry too much about that. While I put on mascara, I'm gonna kind of go like this so you don't have to see my eye too much. I want to tell you this hysterical story. And this is before Arbonne, right? To make a long story short, I want to just describe to you that I was the individual or the girl that I taught myself basically everything through YouTube videos growing up. And when I was doing private events for weddings, etc., for makeup, I was the type of individual that looked to online influencers that I trusted their recommendation, no problem at all, right? I'd walk into Ulta and Sephora and buy hundreds and hundreds and not even dollars worth of makeup, but not even flinch. And like I said, this was pre-Arbonne days, or before I even knew that Arbonne had cosmetics available. My boyfriend at the time, we were moving, right? I had to go to work. I left him in charge. I came home, we're doing our thing, we're cranking along, we're like, all right, we're almost out of here, gonna get our security deposit back, everything's great, okay? Then I was like, what is all over the floor? Like it, almost like dirt in that when it's on your feet and it just feels gross. And I lift my foot up, I kid you not, it was pitch black, and I was like, what the heck is that? And so we had that conversation. I was like, what is this? Do you know anything about this? And then I'm noticing that it's on things throughout the apartment. Good grief, what is this? And then, to make a long story short, he said that my eyeshadow palette, which I totally glorified at the time, had shattered. And of course, it was these deep, dark blacks, browns, like, oh, it was an absolute disaster. So I run into the bathroom. I'm scrubbing my feet with literally everything I own, like Dawn, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, Clorox, you name it. And I'm like, why can I not get this off? Like, this is frustrating beyond belief. And at this point, I think we had to be out like the next morning. And so like, we're cramming everything in. And I lean back in the tub, and I kid you not, black footprints on the white tub. And I was like, I definitely just did that. And oh my God, I'm freaking out because I absolutely am going to lose my security deposit. And so try not to freak out. Just getting so frustrated. But in that moment, thank goodness in a way that it happened, because it opened my mind to start to get real with myself. Like, what the heck was in that? Like, I was so frustrated. And the fact that I was using that on people that I love, the eyeshadow, and myself included, and it just made me wonder, like, what kind of ingredients were inside of that. And so, like I said, this was before I even knew about Arbonne. And I started to question what I was putting on my body. And of course, you know, we have one body throughout our whole lifetime. So it's important that we nourish our body, whether it's what we're putting on it or in it. So I started to have these moments, and fast forward, that's when Arbonne came into my life maybe 2 years later. And I started learning about the ingredient policy, the ethics behind how things are sustained, made. And I just was so blown away. And I would encourage you to have conversations with your independent consultant to hear more. Sorry about the dog, I've got to get going. But I would encourage you to have those conversations with your independent consultant to just learn more. And also too, in those moments of when I was hearing about the ingredient policy, etc., I also was learning about the business opportunity. And I was like, dang, I've been doing this like word of mouth business since I was like 8, referring people like, you gotta buy this. Oh, did you see that new makeup? Like, it was this powerful revelation. And I was just so blown away between like what a great fit Arbonne was. And so, oh man, I would just encourage you to have a conversation with your independent consultant if you can relate to anything that I just said, or you're curious, etc. But for the sake of time, I've got to get going because of the dogs, and also I'm a little over time. So before I just want to wrap this up, one tip that I want to talk about with the concealer, right? Oftentimes it's common we see that triangle motion, and that's fine, but I want to show you, I've not done this to either side. You kind of do half of a T. That doesn't necessarily look like it, but that's what we're going for, and a line right there. If you have another color concealer, I have this darker one, which is what I'm gonna use just kind of as a bronzer. I'm just going in beneath that, and with a light tapping motion, I'm going underneath. And it's going to give you a very lifted look, which is honestly what we're going for. You want to, the whole purpose of concealer is to kind of make you look wide awake, and look how lifted that is. Versus if you do the full triangle, you're more than okay to do that, but it leaves for a more drooping appearance on your face. So that's a really fun tip. I love to do that. And then you're also taking your blush. This is Merlot. And you do in that same area beneath where you bronze, just some light tapping motions like that. And it's gonna give for a very lifted look. As you can see, that's actually a really big difference now that I've done it. And I'm also noticing the time. So I'm a chatter, guys. I wish we were all in person. But anywho, those are some of my like top 3 tips as far as when doing makeup really quick. The other 2 pieces of the Ready in 5 set is something for your brows, which depends on what you want to do. If you want to fill in, we have amazing brow pencils, or you can use brow gels that are a lifesaver and a great place to start if you're somebody new. But I'll tell you what I did today is I saved my old mascara, the one that's about to dry out. If I didn't send it back for my TerraCycle, which also get with your independent consultant to talk about that, which is amazing. Arbonne's commitment to bettering our planet. I am so in love with their heart about that. But I just take, it's all dried out, but it's enough that I'm a brunette, so I can kind of get away with just quick swiping motions. We also have in here our regular traditional brow gel, which is just clear. Great option to start. I would add this to your Ready in 5 along with, so let's go back to this real quick before I hop off. I would take a powder brush, a small amount, just kind of cover, easy. And it's also very important that you go in here with your hairline and your neck, right? And then taking my blush brush, going in with that bronzer, kind of just taking a little extra powder to darken things up along my hairline. What did you guys think about that the tub story? I seriously was freaking out, and my landlord was really not happy. Oh gosh, it was so stressful. But taking the blush and going in that same motion. So as you can see, there's concealer here, no concealer on this side. But all I would do to finish this look is, if you're a gloss person, our gloss is fantastic. My goodness, there's peptides in this to help the appearance of volume. Great tip too, if you're more of a lipstick person, to avoid getting lipstick on your teeth after you've applied it. Take your finger and go like that, and any excess will be left there for you. With that being said, just to wrap things up, I'm just gonna put mascara quickly on this other eyelid. You do not need an eyelash curler, but you can do rotating motions like that with our It Speaks Volumes. If you get mascara on your lid, don't worry, just let it dry and then take a Q-tip later. That way you don't have to end up spending more time, because like I said in the beginning, this was about efficiency. This is a Ready in 5 look, I swear. If I wasn't a chatter in a story, like to tell you that story, this would have been a lot shorter, so I totally apologize. But with that being said, like you can see the difference between the concealer and it just makes a big difference with doing a couple of those little techniques, and it's gonna come with time. Don't worry, don't stress about it. But you know, if you're going out later, you can always take, let's say, a darker shade from this, whether it's the darker pink or the brown along your lash line instead of liquid liner. You could go in with our highlighting palette and just, I absolutely love this. But you know, just to kind of spice the same look, which is simple, for something in the evening. So there's so much that you can do with makeup, but I would just encourage you to have fun with it. Get started with the Ready in 5 because it is really simple. I promise you, if you're not talking and you're focused, I'm usually out the door in like 3.5 minutes, or out of the bathroom, I should say. So yeah, I hope this has added value to you and that you learned something. If you do this fun, easy look, I'd love to see a picture of it, or if you're trying your Ready in 5, put that in the comments or something. But you know, with that being said, I just hope you guys are doing well and enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day, and take good care of yourself. Get connected with your independent consultant, talk about any products, any questions you may have. Learn about TerraCycle too and Arbonne's initiatives. It is absolutely amazing. But with that being said, I'm gonna run. I also, setting spray, can't live without it. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you all later. Take care.